I have a few guilty pleasures, and one of them is history, very much so. And I've probably watched more documentaries and read more history books in the last few years than anything else. But especially when you could mix fiction in with historical events and time periods where you can really feel like you're in that place at that time is even more of an enjoyable experience for me. And Mike Mizrahi, who used to work for the gas company and now has been able to take a little time to really focus on his passion, has combined that with the history and fiction and has written an awesome book called The Great Chattanooga Bicycle Race. I'm going to give a little bit of a synopsis here. Anna Gaines, an introverted 19-year-old, discovers she's a natural on the wheel after a visit with her aunt in Brooklyn. Upon returning home to Chattanooga, she insists on the same rights that have been given to men to cycle in public. She becomes the first woman to ride the streets of Chattanooga clad in the risqué costume that many New York women are wearing in 1895. Bloomers. And Mike Mizrahi, tell me a little bit about this, because we look at bloomers as big, giant things, but they were, in that time period, kind of like what we might consider the thong now, right?
Yeah. It was, by the 1890s, you started to see women in kind of the bigger cities, New York and Los Angeles and other northern cities, were wearing this on the bike because it was just a lot easier to ride a bicycle. And in some corners, it was considered scandalous to wear this kind of an outfit, especially in the South.
And we're talking about a time period where, first of all, the bicycle, kind of a revolutionary mode of transportation, especially for city dwellers who maybe don't own horses. You don't have to worry about all that. And it was a way to get around. And until the automobile was considered the mode of transportation of the future, right?
Absolutely. It was in 1888 that what they called the safety bicycle that was introduced. Now, this was after about 80 years of different iterations of bicycles, and they introduced the safety bike. It's much like the bike that you and I know today. And when that hit, it became a national phenomenon. By the middle of the 1890s, they were selling 1 million to 2 million bikes a year, and things caught on with women wanting to ride, but again, in certain areas of the country, that didn't happen.
And we're talking about even by the late 19th century, women didn't have the right to vote. They did not, in most ways, have the same rights as what we consider that men have, and especially things like working, things like school teachers once they got married, situations like that where they couldn't continue to work. They were considered, once it was to that marrying age, staying at the home and taking care of the family. So when we're talking about a woman in this story, a young woman wanting to actually participate in a bicycle race, that's a huge deal.
That's right. And so I ran across an interesting quote, which kind of got me on to this story that I developed. It was from Susan B. Anthony. Everybody kind of knows who she was. Right around 1895, she said, "The bicycle has done more for women's emancipation than anything else in the world." I thought, whoa, are you serious? And when I looked into that, I saw that it was absolutely true. There was a social revolution that took place in the 1890s, and it's really fascinating. Most people don't know about it.
Well, I think what's interesting about this in the story, of course, it's not just about a bicycle race. It's about a time period and kind of a triumph of the human spirit, personally for the character, but also really kind of a peek into the social mores and the thought processes that we can either reflect upon as to either how far we've come in over 100 years or maybe not how far we've come in over 100 years. So there's that underlying kind of social aspect of the book, right?
Yes. Anna Gaines, the heroine of the book, if you will, is about 19 years old, and she's got these competing desires. She was thrown from a horse when she was 13, spent a year in bed, has a limp now as a 19-year-old, and she is going back and forth between, do I want to be kind of the post-Antebellum Southern wife and mother, or do I want to be a new woman, quote unquote, who's going to take her place on a bicycle seat and get a career and teach college as she hopes to do? So so she's got a lot of inner self-doubts and changes that she has to go through, but is eventually transformed into who she really wants to be by the end of the book.
And it looks like a little bit of romance as well, maybe brewing in this story, which is, so it's a little story. This book has a little something for everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
It's The Great Chattanooga Bicycle Race is the title of the book by Mike Mizrahi, who spending your time very well. And this is your first novel that you've published.
Yes.
And you've got more in the works.
Yes, I do.
And you will also be at the KHTS Home and Garden show this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So anybody visiting your booth can check out the book and get to know you. And will you be signing any autographs by any chance?
Absolutely. The book, I'll have some kind of pre-sale copies of the book. It goes on sale on May 1st. And people can go to my website. Can I?
By all means. I was about to give it out, but go ahead.
All right. Mike H., and I'll spell the last name, Mizrahi.com. MikeHMizrahi.com.
And you can find that also probably a link over from our website, hometownstation.com. And will this also be, I know there's going to be for sale on your website, will it be any other type of digital or brick and mortar bookstores that we'll be able to see it?
Yeah, we're preparing to get it into the Barnes & Noble system. You can go to Amazon. It'll be available through Amazon. You could go to my site. You could go to Redemption Press in Seattle, Washington, to their website, and shouldn't be hard to find.
This is especially if you're a history buff, if you're a bicycle buff, if you are a romance buff, or just want to read a good story and kind of imbibe yourself in all of those aspects. The Great Chattanooga Bicycle Race, that is the title of the book. Amazon, one click. How easy is that? Yeah. So on sale May 1st, but a pre-sale coming up this weekend. You can meet the author, Mike Mizrahi, at the KHTS Home and Garden show this weekend at Central Park. Mike, it's been a while since we've chit-chatted, and I like to see that your new direction that you're taking, and really look forward to hearing more from you. I can't wait for your next book to come out.
Hey, George, thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Also, MikeHMizrahi.com, Mizrahi.com.